things. America has always been a nation defined by its dreamers, builders, fighters, and creators, individuals whose courage, resilience, things, and passion turned personal ambition into collective inspiration. These legends, whether they stood on the battlefield, in a courtroom, on a stage, things, or behind a microphone, embodied the essence of what it means to leave behind more than just achievements. They left behind legacies. Things. Their stories are not simply tales of fame or fortune, but reminders that greatness comes from perseverance, from the willingness to take risks, things, and from the strength to stand for something bigger than oneself. Each time we reflect on these figures, things, we are reminded that America's soul has always been carried by people willing to dream the impossible and push beyond limits. Things, even in the face of failure, sacrifice, or mortality, from Hollywood stars who lit up the silver screen and gave audiences joy, laughter, and hope. Things, to soldiers who paid the ultimate price in defense of freedom. Their contributions are etched into the history. Musicians, things, with their words and melodies, gave people voices when they had none, connecting generations with feelings too deep for words. Things, athletes pushed human boundaries, showing us that discipline and determination can turn the impossible into history, making triumphs. Things, leaders and activists risked their lives, their reputations, and their comfort to fight for equality, justice, and human dignity. Things, proving that one person's courage can ignite a movement powerful enough to transform society. Things. These legends remind us that every life has the potential to ripple across generations, influencing people they may never even meet. Things, even though time has taken them from us, their impact continues to echo. Their films are still watched with awe. Things, their songs still sung with emotion, their speeches still quoted with reverence, and their sacrifices still honored with gratitude. Things, they have become more than individuals. They are eternal symbols of resilience, hope, and passion. Things, their stories show us that mortality is inevitable, but legacy is immortal. As long as we keep telling their stories, things, as long as we learn from their journeys, and as long as we carry their values into the future, they will never truly be gone. Things. To pay tribute to these American legends is not just to remember them, but to celebrate the values they stood for. Things. It is to remind ourselves and future generations that success is not measured by wealth or recognition, but by the hearts you touch. Things, the lives you inspire, and the courage you show in the face of adversity. Things, America's greatest legends have left us with a gift far more precious than fame. They left us inspiration, hope, things, and the reminder that each of us has the power to make a difference. Their legacies live in every act of kindness, every dream pursued, things, and every struggle overcome. And in that way, though their lives have ended, their spirits continue to guide America forward. Things, lighting the path for dreamers yet to come. Things, Chadwick Boseman, the king who showed us dignity. Chadwick Boseman, the king who showed us dignity. Things, left the world in silence and sorrow when he passed away in 2020 at only 43 years old, a moment that shook hearts across the globe. Things, because it felt like a bright flame had been extinguished too soon, yet the warmth of his light still lingers with us, refusing to fade. Things, he was more than just an actor, more than just a man on screen, because with every role he chose, he carried a mission, a sense of purpose. Things, and a voice for those whose stories deserve to be told, from his portrayal of Jackie Robinson in 42, Things, reminding us of courage in the face of racial barriers, to James Brown in Get On Up, where he captured the fire and rhythm of an icon. Things, to Thurgood Marshall in Marshall, where he embodied justice and intellect with poise. Boseman was not only acting, he was channeling history. Things, channeling truth, channeling voices that demanded to be heard. Things, yet it was his role as King T'Challa in Black Panther that transformed him into something larger than cinema, something timeless. Things, something that still chills down spines and tears down cheeks, because for the first time, things. Millions saw themselves in a superhero who looked like them, who carried their heritage with pride, and who declared to the world things. Wakanda forever. He wasn't just wearing a costume, he was wearing a crown, one stitched from centuries of struggle, triumph, and dreams. Things. And through him, black children across the world could look at the screen and say, that is me, I belong, I matter. Things. I am powerful. Representation became more than entertainment. It became liberation. It became pride. It became hope. Things. And through the grace with which Boseman carried himself, the humility he showed in interviews, things. The kindness he shared quietly without seeking recognition, he reminded us that true greatness does not shout, it shines. Behind the cameras, things. While the world cheered him on, Chadwick Boseman was silently fighting his own battle, a battle with cancer that he chose to keep private. Things. Not because of weakness, but because of strength, because he wanted the world to focus not on his suffering, but on his work, his art, his mission. Things. Even as he endured surgeries and treatments, he continued to deliver performances that would inspire generations. Things. Never letting pain silence his passion. He visited children in hospitals, encouraged young dreamers. Things. And spoke words of wisdom that now feel like prophecy, reminding us all that life is not about how long you live, but how well you live. Things. And how deeply you love. His passing was heartbreaking, but his legacy is breathtaking because Chadwick Boseman showed us that authenticity. Things. Perseverance and compassion can turn even the shortest life into a timeless story. He was and forever will be a king, a hero. Things. A symbol of dignity. And though he is gone, his spirit echoes in every dreamer who dares to rise, reminding us that legends never die. Things. They simply live forever in the hearts they touch. Thing. Jim Murray, a humanitarian in sports. Jim Murray, a humanitarian in sports, left this world in August 2025 at the age of 87, and with his passing, things. The world lost not only a brilliant football mind, but also a man whose heart beat louder than any scoreboard. Things. A man who understood that greatness was not found only in victories, but in the lives you touched with compassion and care. Things. As the former general manager of the Philadelphia Eagles, he brought strength, vision, and leadership to the team. Things. Helping build an organization that stood tall on the field. But what truly set him apart was the humanity he carried into every decision. Things. Every initiative, every dream he chased beyond the game. For Murray, football was a platform, but life was the mission. Things. And he used that platform to change the world in a way that trophies could never capture. Things. His most profound legacy came through the co-founding of the Ronald McDonald House, an idea born out of empathy, a creation built from love. Things. A home that became a sanctuary for families facing the darkest of days. Parents with sick children, torn apart by fear and exhaustion. Things. Suddenly had a place to rest, to heal, to be close to the little ones who needed them most. Things. And all of it was made possible because Jim Murray believed that sports could serve something greater than entertainment. It could serve humanity. Things. Today, Ronald McDonald houses across the globe continue to carry his vision forward, standing as beacons of comfort, care, and kindness. Things. Reaching families who may never know his name, but who live every day within the shelter of his dream. This is a legacy not of games won, things, but of lives comforted, tears eased, and love restored in moments of despair. When we remember Jim Murray, we do not just remember an executive. Things. We remember a visionary, a man who understood that leadership is not about titles, but about service. Things. Not about lifting trophies, but about lifting people when they are too weak to stand on their own. His passing leaves a void in sports. Things. In philanthropy, in the countless lives he touched. Things. But his spirit remains alive in every smile of a child who sees their parent by their hospital bed. Things. In every family that finds rest when they thought they had none. In every act of kindness that echoes his example. things. He taught us that true greatness in sports and in life is not only measured by the glory of championships, but by the humanity you leave behind. Things, the compassion you show and the love you spread. Things. Jim Murray's story is a reminder that the most powerful victories are not played under stadium lights, things, but in the quiet acts of generosity that continue to shine long after the final whistle, making him not just a legend in sports, but a legend in humanity. Things. McPherson, the last of the WWI aces, Donald McPherson, the last of the duty aces, passed away at the remarkable age of 103, and with him, things. America bid farewell to a living link to a generation defined by sacrifice, courage, and unshakable duty. As a young pilot in the Second World War, things. McPherson etched his name into history by downing 5 enemy planes. Things. A feat that earned him the honor of being called an ace. But beyond the statistics and the glory, things. What set him apart was the unwavering resolve with which he defended freedom in skies filled with danger, fear, and uncertainty. Thing. His bravery was not born of recognition, but of responsibility. Things. A sense of duty that carried him into battle when the world needed men of extraordinary grit, and though his victories helped secure peace, think his life after war reflected even greater strength, for he never let pride overshadow humility, nor valor overshadow humanity. Things. In the years that followed, McPherson did not seek fame or praise. Instead, he embraced the quiet rhythm of life, dedicating himself to family, things, community, and the values he fought to preserve. He became a symbol not just of wartime heroism, but of peacetime character. Things. A man whose strength was found not only in battle, but in the love and service he extended to those around him. In his hometown, things. A ball field was named in his honor, a place where children run, laugh, and dream. Things. Unknowingly carrying forward the spirit of a man who once soared above the clouds to protect their future. Things. That field is more than just a patch of grass. It is a living testament, a reminder etched into the everyday lives of young people. Things. That courage and honor are not relics of the past, but seeds that can inspire every new generation. Things. Donald McPherson's legacy is one of dual greatness, the fearless ace who defended freedom with precision and bravery in the air. Things. And the humble man who, once the war was over, returned to give his community the quiet strength of service, dignity, and humility. Things. His story is not only his own, but a chapter in the greater book of the greatest generation. Things. Men and women who endured hardships we can scarcely imagine, yet carried America forward with resilience, determination, and sacrifice. Things. With his passing, a page has turned, but the lesson remains: freedom was bought with courage, honor is carried in humility. Things. And true greatness is found in service beyond self. Donald McPherson stands as a shining reminder that heroes are not only those who win battles, things, but those who live with dignity long after the battles are done. And though he is gone, his legacy continues to soar high above us. Things. Forever etched in the sky of America's memory. Ron Turcotte riding into history with Secretariat. Ron Turcotte riding into history with Secretariat. Things. Will forever be remembered as the man whose hands guided one of the greatest horses the world has ever known, carrying both himself and Secretariat into the immortality of sports history. In 1973, things. When he rode the great chestnut stallion to a Triple Crown victory, the world stood still, hearts raced, and history was rewritten. Things. As the duo shattered records and expectations with performances so breathtaking they seemed almost unreal. Things. The crowning jewel came at the Belmont Stakes, where Secretariat stormed to the finish line, an unimaginable 31 lengths ahead. Things. A moment so powerful that fans watching felt they were witnessing not just a race, but destiny itself. And at the center of it was Turcotte. Things. The quiet, skilled jockey whose bond with the horse transcended sport, becoming a story of connection, trust, and shared greatness. Things. Yet Ron Turcotte's life was not only defined by triumph, but also by resilience in the face of tragedy. For in 1978, things. A riding accident left him paralyzed, altering his course but never breaking his spirit. Things. Many would have been defeated by such a cruel twist of fate, but Turcotte transformed his pain into purpose, becoming a voice for injured jockeys. Things. Fighting tirelessly for safety reforms and better protections for those who risk their lives in the pursuit of racing glory. Things. His advocacy turned him from a champion on the track into a champion for humanity, proving that strength is not measured by victories alone, things, but by the courage to rise when life knocks you down, and by the compassion to ensure others are safer, stronger, and better because of your fight. Things. He became an inspiration not just to racing fans, but to anyone who knew the weight of hardship and the power of resilience. Thing. When Ron Turcotte passed away in 2025 at the age of 84, the world lost more than a jockey. It lost a legend. Things. A man who carried both triumph and tragedy with dignity, grace, and unshakable resolve. Things. His legacy is etched not only in record books, but in the hearts of all who saw him ride, all who were touched by his advocacy. Things, and all who found in his story a reminder that greatness is not just about how high you rise, things, but about how you continue to shine even in the darkest of moments. Turcotte's journey was one of history-making victories, things, heartbreaking challenges, and inspiring resilience. And in the end, he left behind a legacy of courage, compassion, and an unbreakable spirit. Things. He and Secretariat will always remain a symbol of what it means to push beyond limits, to chase destiny with every stride. Things, and to live a life that continues to inspire long after the final race is run. Things. Gerry Spence, the lawyer who never lost a case. Gerry Spence, the lawyer who never lost a case. Things. Stands as one of the most extraordinary figures in American legal history, a man whose very name became synonymous with truth, passion, things, and an unshakable fight for justice. Through decades of courtroom battles, Spence built a reputation unlike any other. Things, never once losing a criminal case, a feat that spoke not only to his brilliance but to his unwavering dedication to the people he defended. Things, his style was unlike the stiff formalities of traditional law. Instead, he brought storytelling, charisma, and raw humanity into the courtroom. Things, weaving words that pierced through legal jargon and spoke directly to the hearts of jurors. For him, justice was not about wielding power, things, but about protecting the powerless, about giving the underdog a chance to stand tall, even when facing giants like corporations or the government. Things. Each case he touched became more than a legal dispute. It became a story of human dignity, of fairness, of the relentless pursuit of truth. Things. But Spence's legacy extended far beyond the courtroom. Things. For he was not content with simply winning battles himself. He wanted to prepare others to carry the fight forward with that vision. Things. He founded the Trial Lawyers College, a place where lawyers learn not just legal tactics, but the heart and soul of advocacy. Things. The courage to stand with people, the humility to listen, and the fire to speak with honesty and conviction. Things. Generations of attorneys have been shaped by his teachings, carrying into courtrooms across the country the lessons he left behind. Things, ensuring that his spirit of justice continues to echo through every defense of the vulnerable, every challenge to power, every demand for fairness. Things, his work reminded America that the law at its very core is not about statutes or procedures, but about people, their struggles, their rights, things, their voices that deserve to be heard. When Gerry Spence passed away in 2025 at the age of 96, things, America lost more than a lawyer. It lost a warrior for justice, a teacher, a storyteller, things, and a moral compass for what the legal profession could and should be. His death marked the end of an era, things, but his legacy remains alive in every lawyer he inspired, in every person he defended, and in every courtroom where truth still matters. Things. His life proved that one individual, armed not with weapons, but with words, not with power, but with conviction, things, can reshape the very meaning of justice for countless others, things. Gerry Spence's story is not just the tale of an undefeated lawyer. It is the story of a man who believed deeply in fairness, things, who used his voice to defend the voiceless, and who showed us all that the law, at its most noble, is the guardian of human dignity, things. And though he has left this world, his voice still echoes, reminding us that courage and truth remain the most powerful tools of justice. Things. Bill Withers, the soul of simplicity. Bill Withers, the soul of simplicity, left this world in 2020 at the age of 81. Things. But his music continues to breathe life into moments of joy, sorrow, and reflection, carrying with it the rare gift of honesty wrapped in melody. Things. With timeless songs like Lean on Me, Ain't No Sunshine, and Lovely Day, he gave us soundtracks that spoke to the human condition. Things, songs that could comfort the lonely, lift the weary, and celebrate the beautiful ordinariness of life. His voice was not just sound, it was warmth. Things, it was truth. It was the gentle reminder that no one is ever truly alone, that hope can be found in the simplest of words, and that love, things, in all its forms, is the binding force of humanity. Each lyric he wrote was stripped of excess, carrying only the raw heart of emotion. Things, which is why they remain as powerful today as when they were first sung. What made Withers unique was not only his talent, but also his choices. Thing, for unlike many artists who chase fame endlessly, he chose peace, family, and authenticity. Things, walking away from the industry at the height of his career. Things, that decision was not an escape, but a statement, a declaration that true worth is not measured in awards or stages, but in the ability to remain honest with oneself. Things, he lived life on his terms, and in doing so, he showed the world that art is most powerful when it is real. Things, when it springs from the everyday struggles, smiles, and stories of ordinary people. His music became universal because it was deeply human. Things, carrying the kind of simplicity that cuts through time, culture, and circumstance. Things, Bill Withers' legacy is woven into countless moments where his songs are played, at weddings where couples promise forever. Things, at funerals where families say goodbye, at graduations where dreams begin, and in quiet evenings when someone simply needs to feel understood. Things. His music was never about grandeur. It was about connection, about putting into words what so many feel but cannot say. And that is why his voice, things, his songs, his spirit will never fade. Things. He left behind a reminder that sometimes the greatest beauty is found not in complexity, but in simplicity, not in noise, but in silence. Things, not in fame, but in authenticity. Bill Withers showed us that honesty, heart, and humanity are timeless, and though he has left this world, things, his songs will continue to echo across generations, a comforting hand on the shoulder, a whisper of hope in hard times. Things, and a celebration of love in the best of times. His life was simple, his message was clear, and his legacy is eternal. Thing, dear, a trailblazer for Native American rights. Ida Deer, a trailblazer for Native American rights, passed away in 2023 at the age of 88. Things, leaving behind a legacy of courage, resilience, and groundbreaking leadership that forever reshaped the path of Indigenous advocacy in America. Things, as a proud member of the Menominee tribe, she carried the weight of her people's struggles with dignity and determination. Things, refusing to let their voices be silenced in a nation that too often overlooked them. Things, her most remarkable achievement came with the restoration of federal recognition to the Menominee tribe. Things, an extraordinary reversal of a damaging termination policy that had stripped her people of their rights and sovereignty. Things, through tireless activism, relentless persistence, and a refusal to back down. Things, she not only restored what was lost, but also gave future generations of Menominee a renewed sense of identity, pride, and self-determination. Things, but Ada Deer's influence stretched far beyond her own community as she became the first woman to lead the Bureau of Indian Affairs. Things, breaking through barriers that had long kept Native voices at the margins of power. Her leadership in government, academia, things. And activism was fueled by a deep commitment to justice, equality, and the sovereignty of all Native nations. Things. She stood at the intersection of policy and humanity, reminding America that indigenous issues were not distant or forgotten, but urgent and alive. Things. Every speech she gave, every fight she led, carried the same message, that Native people deserved not only recognition, but respect. Things. Not only survival, but opportunity, not only inclusion, but leadership in shaping their own futures. She became both a voice and a beacon. Things. Inspiring countless young Native leaders to step forward, to speak out, and to claim their rightful place in the ongoing story of America. Things. Ada Deer's passing marked the end of an era, but her spirit continues to live on in every movement for sovereignty. Things. In every classroom where Native history is taught, in every policy that reflects the dignity of indigenous nations. Things. And in every young woman who dares to lead with courage and conviction, she showed the world that leadership is not about titles or recognition. Things. But about service to one's people, about the persistence to keep fighting even when the odds seem impossible, and about the belief that justice, things, no matter how long delayed, can still be won. Ada Deer will always be remembered as a trailblazer, a warrior for justice. Things, and a protector of her people's rights, whose legacy continues to guide Native voices towards strength, resilience, and sovereignty. In her story, Things, we find not only inspiration, but also the enduring reminder that true leadership is defined by service, sacrifice, things, and the courage to demand a better world for those who come after. Things. Zitkalala, the voice of a nation. Zitkala, the voice of a nation, was born in 1876 and long before the modern civil rights movement. Things. She stood with courage, using her pen, her art, and her voice to demand justice for Native Americans in a world that tried to silence them. Things. Also known as Gertrude Simmons Bonin, she grew from the heart of the Yankton Sioux Reservation into a writer, educator, things, an activist who refused to let her people be erased. Things, challenging stereotypes with eloquence and exposing the harsh realities of indigenous life under oppressive U.S. government policies. Things, through essays, speeches, and her groundbreaking collaboration on the first Native American opera, Things, she revealed not only the struggles of her people, but also their beauty, strength, and resilience. Things, weaving together tradition and modernity to remind America that Native voices could not and would not be ignored. Things, her influence reached far beyond her lifetime as her words and actions planted seeds of resistance and representation that still bloom today. Things, inspiring activists, educators, and artists to continue the fight she began. Even in death, her legacy has not dimmed. In 2024, Things, she was honored on the American Women Quarter. Things, a recognition that served not only as a tribute to her, but as a reminder to the nation of the voices it once tried to silence. Things, now ringing louder than ever. Zikalawa's story is one of resilience, of cultural pride, and of an unwavering belief in justice. Things, proving that art and words can be weapons as powerful as any law, capable of changing minds and shaping the course of history. Things, when she passed away in 1938, the world lost her physical presence, but her spirit has never faded. Things, for it lives on in the continuing fight for Native sovereignty, in the preservation of indigenous cultures. Things, and in the growing recognition of Native voices across literature, politics, and art. Things, Zitkala'a represents the enduring truth that stories carry power, that art can spark revolution, and that the written word can outlive oppression. Things, her legacy is not confined to the past, but alive in every movement for Native rights today, reminding us that one determined voice, Things, raised with courage and conviction, can echo through generations, shaping the identity of a people and the conscience of a nation. She was Things, and remains the voice of a nation, a symbol of how resistance, truth, creativity can carve a permanent place in history. things. Marjory Stoneman Douglas, the woman who saved the Everglades, Marjory Stoneman Douglas, the woman who saved the Everglades, things, lived an extraordinary 108 years, dedicating her life to a cause that many once ignored, and in doing so, things, she transformed the way America saw one of its most precious natural treasures. Things. When others dismissed the Everglades as nothing more than a useless, she raised her voice with clarity and passion. Things, declaring it instead a living, things, breathing ecosystem of river of grass whose survival was essential not only for wildlife, but for humanity itself. Her groundbreaking book, Everglades River of Grass, became a rallying cry. Things, reshaping public understanding and sparking a movement to protect what had been so carelessly endangered. With words as sharp as her determination, things, she turned the tide of perception, proving that one woman's vision and persistence could stand against industries, governments, and apathy. Things, and still prevail. Her activism stretched across decades as she fought tirelessly for conservation reforms. Things, inspiring laws and protections that would safeguard the Everglades for generations. Things, yet her influence extended beyond policy. She became a mentor and a symbol. Things, inspiring countless young conservationists to see themselves not as passive bystanders, but as guardians of the earth. Schools were named after her. Things, organizations formed in her honor, even orchestral works celebrated her legacy. Things, each a tribute to the indomitable spirit of a woman who refused to give up on the land she loved. Things, she was not afraid to stand in front of powerful adversaries, to speak inconvenient truths, to challenge greed with wisdom. Things, and to remind the world that nature's survival and humanity's survival are one and the same. When Marjory Stoneman Douglas passed away in 1998, things, the world mourned the loss of a giant, but her message did not fade. Instead, it grew louder, more urgent. Things, as the reality of climate change began to weigh upon the planet today, her words ring with prophetic power. Protect nature, then you protect the future. Things, her legacy is more than the preservation of a single ecosystem. It is the reminder that our environment is not a backdrop to human progress. Things, but the very foundation of life itself. Through her life, she proved that determination and courage, even in the hands of one person, things, can ignite a movement that outlives them by centuries. Marjory Stoneman Douglas remains an icon of environmentalism. Things, a defender of life in all its forms. Things, and a timeless voice urging us to care for the earth with the same passion and persistence she gave every day of her long, remarkable life. Woody Guthrie, the voice of the people, Woody Guthrie, the voice of the people, lived from 1912 to 1967. Things. And in that span of years, he became more than a musician. He became a conscience for America, a troubadour whose songs carried the pain, the hope, things, and the determination of ordinary men and women. Things. With his guitar boldly inscribed with the words, "This machine kills fascists," he reminded the world that music could be more than entertainment. Things. It could be resistance. It could be truth. It could be a weapon against oppression. His most famous anthem, Things. "This land is your land," was more than just a melody. It was a declaration, a rallying cry, a reminder that America belonged to everyone. Things, not just the wealthy or the privileged, but to every worker, every farmer, every child who dared to dream. Things. Guthrie's lyrics stripped away pretense and spoke plainly, directly. Things. With a raw honesty that resonated deeply with those who often felt unseen or unheard, giving them a voice when the world turned away. Things. Even after his death, Guthrie's influence only grew, shaping generations of musicians who would carry his torch forward. Bob Dylan. Things. Bruce Springsteen, Pete Seeger, and countless others found inspiration in his words, his courage, and his refusal to let silence win. Things. Through their voices, Guthrie's spirit lived on, proving that art is not bound by time, that truth in song can ripple through decades. things, fueling movements for justice, equality, and freedom. His music became the soundtrack of protest marches, labor strikes, things, and civil rights demonstrations woven into the fabric of America's struggle for a fairer society. What set Guthrie apart was not just his talent, things, but his humanity, his ability to stand beside the poor, the marginalized, the forgotten, and say with conviction, your story matters, things. Your voice matters. This land is yours too. Though he passed away in 1967 after a long battle with Huntington's disease, Woody Guthrie's legacy remains alive in every chord struck in the name of justice, in every song sung to challenge oppression, in every voice raised for freedom. His life and art proved that music could do more than move feet. It could move hearts, shift minds, and shape history. Guthrie's story is a testament to the power of simplicity, honesty, and courage, showing us that even in the face of suffering, one person with a guitar and a vision could ignite change far greater than themselves. He will forever stand as the voice of the people. A symbol of resistance and a reminder that art, at its best, is one of the most powerful weapons for change the world will ever know. Freddie King, the Texas Cannonball. Freddie King, forever remembered as the Texas Cannonball, was a force of nature in the world of blues. Man whose music carried both fire and soul in every note he played. Born in 1934 and gone too soon in 1976 at only 42 years old. King's time on earth was brief, but his impact was eternal. With his blistering guitar style and booming voice, he created a sound that was raw, emotional and unforgettable, a perfect blend of Texas grit and Chicago blues sophistication. His instrumental masterpiece, Hideaway, became a standard, a song every aspiring guitarist longed to master. While his electrifying stage presence turned every performance into an experience that lingered in the hearts of those lucky enough to witness it. Freddie King did not just play the blues, he lived them, and in doing so, he gave the world music that spoke to joy, pain, struggle, and triumph all at once. His influence stretched far beyond his own recordings, shaping the very foundation of blues rock for generations to come. Legends like Eric Clapton, Stevie Ray Vaughan, and countless others look to King not just as an inspiration, but as a teacher. A pioneer who showed how deeply a guitar could speak when placed in the hands of someone unafraid to pour his soul into every chord. He stood alongside B.B. King and Albert King as one of the three kings of blues guitar, yet his sound remained uniquely his own. Filled with a ferocity and energy that earned him his nickname. Even after his untimely death, his legacy continued to grow. Enshrined in both the Blues Hall of Fame and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, testaments to the reach of his genius. Freddie King's story is a reminder that greatness is not measured by the length of years, but by the depth of impact in just over 4 decades. He reshaped the way the world heard and felt the blues, leaving behind a body of work that still inspires musicians and moves audiences today. His music remains alive, timeless, echoing in every solo that dares to combine passion with power, heart with heat. Freddie King will forever stand as a symbol of energy, passion, and authenticity. Proof that even a short life can leave an indelible mark on music history. Keith Whitley, a country voice that still echoes the passing of these American legends, reminds us that while human life has an end, the mark of a true legacy is no expiration. Each of these remarkable individuals, whether Chadwick Boseman, who carried himself with dignity and purpose on screen, or Woody Guthrie, whose songs became the soundtrack of protest and hope, showed that greatness is measured not in years lived, but in lives touched. Gerry Spence's fearless pursuit of justice redefined the power of law. While Marjory Stoneman Douglas' tireless defense of the Everglades proved that one voice can protect entire ecosystems. Others, like Ada Deer, Ron Turcotte and Bill Withers demonstrated that resilience, advocacy, and simplicity can inspire across generations. Though their journeys ended, their legacies endure as guideposts for us all. They remind us that courage comes in many forms, whether through a song, a courtroom, a racetrack, or a fight for sovereignty and justice. They prove that influence is not confined to a single lifetime, but grows, evolves, and multiplies through the people who carry forward their dreams. When we remember these legends, we do more than honor their achievements, we inherit their unfinished work and their vision for a better world. In keeping their stories alive, we ensure that their voices, their passion, and their light continue to shine. Their lives teach us that true immortality is found not in how long we live, but in how deeply we inspire others to rise, act, and believe. These American legends remind us that while life is finite, legacy is eternal.